Ladies and gentlemen, Tony West is a name that's well known in the Bay Area. He's attorney with Morrison and Forrester and also one of the state finance co-chairs for Obama for America. Hey, Tony, thanks for your time. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Especially
today. After,
I know.
After
Congratulations.
such a great week.
I know, it's been fantastic. Fantastic. We first met when you won the right to represent John Kerry as a delegate at the Democratic National Convention.
Mm-hmm.
How did you, I think somewhere in there you met Senator Obama, is that right?
I did. I actually met him at the convention in 2004. And after that convention and after that election, or maybe even during that year when he was running for the Senate, at some point he came out to California to do an event for my sister-in-law, Kamala Harris.
Mm-hmm.
And so I stayed in touch with the senator during that time, and at some point along the way, I told him that if he ever ran for president, I'd like to help him. I did not think it would be as soon as 2008, but you know, so be it. And so when he decided that it was something he was seriously thinking about, I told him I'd help him raise money, which I started to do in January of 2007.
So when did you get the call? Was that December then? Because I remember there was the draft Obama movement, which I heard about.
I think it was December was when I first, December was when I first, exactly, was asked to sort of get engaged. And at that point, I don't even think we had an exploratory committee formed, but there was certainly one formed by January 2007 when we held the first event.
What was it that made this work, in your opinion? I mean, I want to ask that right up front because I can't remember an instance of sustained drama, you know?
Mm-hmm.
What is it about the campaign nationwide? Is it that everybody just likes each other? What made it work so well?
You know, I think there were a number of components. I think you start with an extraordinarily talented candidate. Barack Obama is, people have called him a once-in-a-lifetime candidate, and I think there's a lot of truth to that because here's someone who's incredibly smart, who understands history, understands the moment in history that we're in, understands the unique opportunities and challenges that the nation faces, has extraordinarily good judgment, great temperament, one of the best and most inspirational speakers that we've ever seen in American politics. And so he is a phenomenal candidate. When you couple that with the fact that we are at a crossroads in history, when the nation was so dissatisfied with the status quo that change was something the nation was willing to embrace. Usually in democracies, we see fundamental change only in times of great crisis, a civil war, a Great Depression, things like that. And here was another moment in history where we had the opportunity, the country had the opportunity to embrace fundamental change. And so both a talented candidate and the message which resonated with the American people, an American public that was ready to hear that message, I think came together to really lay the groundwork for a very successful venture. Now you couple that with two other things. One is that he's an extraordinary fundraiser. You know, a lot of that comes from the great talent that he possesses as a candidate. But Barack had a very different, I need to call him the president-elect now because that's what he is. President-elect
It's been
Obama.
Barack for so long.
Right. The president-elect had a very unique way of approaching his presidential campaign. He said, look, this is going to be a grassroots effort. We've never really seen a true grassroots campaign in presidential politics in at least 40 years. And he said, look, you know, I'm going to take what I learned from my years as a community organizer, and I'm going to apply that to a presidential campaign. He did that successfully. That gave people, millions of Americans all over the nation, a piece of this campaign, an ownership stake in this campaign, and I think that really also made it very successful.
When did you first realize that the campaign was really going somewhere? I mean, because I think for me, it was the Oakland rally, the 18,000 people in City Hall. No one expected that.
No one ever expected, no one had ever seen anything like that
No.
before. I think I always knew it was going someplace. I mean, you know, I've been involved in a lot of presidential campaigns, and this was my sixth. And I always knew, always had the sense that it was going to be an historic campaign. And, you know, frankly, it turns out I ended up working out with the president-elect the morning that he announced.
You played basketball with him?
Well, I played basketball with him in Indianapolis, but
did you duck on him?
But listen, Barack, I am such a bad player.
Now remember, Barack's going to see this.
Barack is such a good player, you know, that he indulged.
You're not that bad.
He indulged me on the court. Let me just put it that way. He indulged my presence on the court. But this was just the morning he announced in Springfield, when and it was in the gym. It was just two of us in the gym, and we were talking about the fact that he was, you know, about to announce, and the historic nature of his run, and you know, the parallels to Kennedy in '68 and
right.
Roosevelt in '32. And I told him at that time that I believe that if he could win the nomination, if he could be the most popular brand in Democratic Party politics, the Clintons, then he would be the next president of the United States. I believed that. And so for me, I knew, at least I believed, that our biggest fight, our biggest challenge and test would come in the primary season. If we could get through that, and we were successful, and we were proven, and the people could see us triumph in that arena, then he'd be president.
Do you think we would be where we are without BarackObama.com, the website? That, to me, people talk about it,
Yeah.
but I don't think anyone really appreciates just, I mean, for me. I just want to hear your thought on that.
No, I know. I think that clearly, you know, there's a third thing. I mean, I said, what, the money and the grassroots, but it's absolutely true that this campaign would not be what it is without the technological tools that made it a success. I mean, you know, the community organizing skills and the approach that Barack took was very, very unique, and that clearly, I think, was a recipe for success. But what made it possible, what made it a reality to millions of Americans around the country, were the social networking tools that were part and parcel to this campaign from the very, very beginning. BarackObama.com, and then all of the other things that you saw as spin-offs, whether it was the YouTube channel or the Facebook page or the MySpace, or all of those things coming together. He was able to essentially build on what Howard Dean had begun to build in 2004, where he had great fundraising success when it came to the internet. But Barack was able to then take that and build on it and turn that internet community, that internet tool, into an organizing tool.
Well, shifting gears from where were you when you heard that Barack was going to be president-elect?
I was in Chicago, and I was with my wife Maya, and we were with a few hundred supporters.
Were you with Oprah when she was?
We were in the same vicinity,
yeah.
But I wasn't. She wasn't crying on my shoulder.
That was Sam Perry, folks. He was shorter, he was crying.
Right.
Why'd you pick Sam?
Hey, well, you know, Sam was in the right place at the right time.
He's a wonkish looking guy. I mean, come on, you know?
Sam's not so bad.
I didn't say it was bad. I said he was wonkish looking. I didn't say it was a bad thing. Some people would say that I'm wonkish looking with glasses.
Fair enough. Well, I thought it was a great photo. I thought it was poignant, and it's one that I think he's gonna treasure for a while. It was all over the Chicago Tribune, but that's where I was. I was in Chicago, and it was funny because the tent, I guess there were a couple hundred people in the tent, but you know, people were milling in and out, and there wasn't a whole lot of concentrated activity in any one part of the tent. And there were TVs in 2 or 3 of the corners. And when the networks took a break, and then they came back with all of the roll-up that, you know, they were about to make a prediction, and it was the top of the hour, I think it was 10 o'clock Central Time, and they were going to call California. Well, we knew just by doing the math that once you say California went blue, that would mean that he was the president-elect. He would hit 270. And so it was really interesting, because right at 10, the entire din that you heard in that tent fell silent. Everybody was watching the TV, and they called the election, and a roar went up, and then everybody left the tent to go outside to go wait to hear the president-elect speak.
Have you ever seen a moment in your lifetime where everyone in the United States, it seemed, was simultaneously euphoric.
Laughing or crying together. I've never seen that before.
I haven't.
I've never seen that before. We come together in times of great tragedy in this nation, and we offer one another great solace. I've not seen this type of triumph. I imagine it's what it's like.
Did you cry?
Like. You know, it's funny.
I cried.
I will tell you the truth. The time when I got a little choked up was when I talked to Barack, and I could only tell him that I was proud of him.
What did he say?
And he said, "I appreciate you." He said, "I appreciate you and everything that you've done."
Yeah.
No, it was touching because I underestimated, I think, the power and the impact of his election.
Really?
I mean, I knew this was big, and I knew what we were involved in was big.
Mm-hmm.
But there was something about being in Grant Park that night with all those people, with all of that emotion all at once, and then seeing the pictures of spontaneous, joyous
all over
celebrations
San Francisco and
all
Oakland.
over the country.
Yeah.
No,
Amazing.
and no violence.
No.
All, I mean, just
none.
all,
None.
and then seeing the pictures from all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Paris.
Oh my God, it was unbelievable. And
Yeah.
so it began to really hit me that it was even more significant in just a very raw emotional way than I think I'd been prepared to expect.
You know, it seems like, I was thinking about this as I was listening to you, we've hit these plateaus of surprise, of reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Oakland, and then Iowa, and now. And it's not over. Where do we go from here? I mean, let me get this right on the table. People looking for jobs. You know? And I would be very surprised if you didn't wind up somewhere in Washington. But what's the future for Tony West? What do you want to do?
Well, I think, let me answer it the best way that I can. I want to obviously be of service to my friend and to the country. Now, you can do that in a whole number of ways. You can do that in the private sector. You can do that in the public sector. You don't have to go to Washington in order to do that.
Right.
So I don't know if that necessarily means that you necessarily go into the administration, but clearly there is a unique opportunity and there is important work for all of us to do because the challenges we face are really big. They're huge. And if Barack has been clear about anything, it is about the fact that all of us together as one nation are going to need to meet this challenge, and we're going to have to do it in creative ways, and we're going to have to reach across differences of party and race and religion and ethnicity. But it's going to take all of us in our own individual capacities.
And I'm glad you said that. What do you have to say to those Obama volunteers who are, I think, maybe withdrawn? In other words, they're trying to figure out how to stay involved. We had that discussion on rapid response. How do you stay involved? What do they do?
Well, I think that there are going to be opportunities for people to stay involved, and I think that you'll see as the administration gets underway and you see things like a more transparent government and how that's actually put together and what that looks like. I think you'll see opportunities for people to participate, not only to give, be a part of building the infrastructure, but also being active citizens.
Which is also a first, because I don't know that any president has developed a structure where Americans can truly get involved in government. Do you?
Well, I think, let me put it.
Maybe it's because the internet gives us that.
Yeah, see, I think I don't know
Yeah.
if it's never happened before, but I don't think it will have ever happened on this scale before because the as you point out, the technological tools now lower the barriers of participation in such a significant way that more of us who have an interest can be involved and be a part of the process.
Now, I have to ask you this question because there's a certain person out there that would get angry if I didn't. Are you going to run for mayor of Oakland?
I have not made any decisions about my own future.
You didn't say no.
I just haven't made any decisions one way or the
Now
other.
let's figure this out. Okay, I'm going to say, okay, you could be great Alameda County DA because your name has been brought up in that subject more than once. I think you'd make a fantastic mayor of Oakland.
Thank you.
I don't know what you want to do in Washington, but it sounds like you're kind of in the middle and you have these opportunities. You're trying to figure out where you want to go.
Well, it's true that I'm trying to figure out what my future looks like, or whether, one thing you did mention was being a really good lawyer
Right.
at a really great firm.
That's right.
Where I'm
Yeah.
at.
That's right.
So, you know.
Not to mention what your wife is going to say.
Yeah, right, exactly, right. Which is the most important
That-
person
yeah.
whose opinion matters the
Right.
most. You know, look, I think a new administration brings a lot of opportunities for a lot of people.
Mhm.
And, you know, we'll see where I, figure out where I can be of most help inside or outside of government. As others will make that decision. But I think there's a lot of time yet to worry about where we end up on this.
But on the matter of your law, what kind of clients do you generally take? I mean, this is your platform, so.
Well, I mean, the firm generally takes clients that are either corporate clients or companies that are engaged in a lot of different and exciting industries. Clean tech is one of our biggest
Right.
emerging practices. We've been well established there. We have a great IP practice. We're known for our litigation, so we do business litigation, general civil litigation, and of course I do
IP?
white collar. We do IP, and
I might need your help.
Oh yeah, and I also do white collar criminal defense.
His next client. So anyway. Well, back up. White collar criminal defense?
I do that. So you probably don't want to hire me for that.
Well, no, but do you think the Bush administration might want to hire you? I had to get that.
Oh, my
goodness. Tony, thanks.
Denny, thanks. Thanks so much. It's good to see you.
You too,
It's
as
good
well.
to see you.
Yeah, definitely. So, folks, Tony is obviously a political junkie. He's got some great.
I can't help myself.
Yeah, look at this. This is you and. Is this who I think it is?
That's Phil Hyman. Phil Hyman was the Deputy Attorney General of the United States under Clinton, and when I first went to Washington, it was to be his special assistant, and he was great. After he left the department, I ended up being an aide to this woman, Janet Reno.
Oh yeah.
And Jamie Gorelick, who was the Deputy Attorney General.
In the red there.
In the red,
Yeah,
right.
uh-huh.
But I was so fortunate to be at the department when Janet Reno was the Attorney General, and also to then be a federal prosecutor when she was the Attorney General. I mean, it was a really great time to sort of learn the principles of prosecution, the values of what a Department of Justice should be. So she's my
Sounds like
my
she was
model.
your mentor.
Well, she was a mentor in many ways, and just someone that I admire a whole lot.
And then there's you and your basketball buddy.
Well, yeah, there is. More importantly, there's me and my family.
That's right.
He happens to be.
Right.
He happens to be in the photograph.
That's right.
My wife, Maya, who is
that's
all the
Maya.
way on the left-hand side, who is the new vice president of the Ford Foundation, the first African American.
Congratulations.
Thank you. The first
Oh.
African American to hold the position of a vice president of the Ford Foundation, and she handles the largest portfolio that they have, which is the peace and social justice portfolio, and I guess they give about $250 billion away
Wow.
every year to do good things in the world, to good programs. So very proud of her, and then next to her is the president-elect and me, and then someone I'm very proud of, my daughter, all the way on the right-hand side, Mina.
Your daughter? Yeah.
Who, Mina spent a great deal of her own time this year working on this campaign. We were in New Hampshire together and had a great time. And then she, was very active in the Silicon Valley office, and spent the last several days in New Mexico helping with that get out the vote effort, which was very important, as you know, because New
Absolutely.
Mexico is one of those
It made a
states
difference.
which helped put us over the top. So I am extremely proud of her and everything she's done.
There was another one with you in the.
That's,
on which day was this that he beat you?
That was that. Well, okay. Now, for the record, I'm not going to listen. Barack is a very good basketball player, and I am not. But and I'll tell you also, this just shows you, this was in Indianapolis, and this was the day of the Indiana primary, which and I had been there for the week, and he came in. Right before then going on to, I want to say North Carolina was that same day. And we had 3 games. I was not on Barack's team. But our team did beat Barack 3 times. But that was not due to my skills. I'm just saying I happened to be in the right place at the right time. It was actually very funny too because I'm not a basketball player. I'm a runner. And I ran in high school, and so I bring my running shorts and my running shoes everywhere I go. And this was no exception. And I had no basketball shorts. I had running shorts, and I had no basketball shoes. So Barack was very kind. He had an extra pair of shoes which he was wearing, and he took them off. He said, "Here, you need to wear these so you don't hurt your ankles."
The same shoe size?
We actually have the same shoe size, and so he gave me a pair of. It's the only pair of basketball shoes I own. The ones he gave me. So
how much are they worth now?
I don't know, but I do wear them because I am practicing because I do intend to get back on the court at some point and just kind of at least demonstrate that I'm not as bad as
I'm a good
remembers.
rebounder if you need help. So I have to ask like the Kennedys here because you've got Kennedy over here. That's Ted, right?
That's
Robert,
Ted,
yeah.
That's Senator Ted Kennedy, and he gave me that when I first met him in 1987 when I was working for the man above him, Mike Dukakis, on his presidential campaign, and I've always admired his work in the Senate. I've always been a very big fan of Bobby Kennedy. I think his a lot of what he represents and a lot of what he articulated, I think you heard echoed in the campaign this year with Senator Obama, and so I have a couple of posters. That one, which is a great photograph of him.
Yeah, this is fast. I saw this. This is like
that one is actually from
else.
1968. That's from the '68 campaign.
Yeah, well,
that was in somebody's
I
garage
like
for a
this
long
one too.
time.
It's okay to care. Hold on a second. This is Oprah.
That was at her home. Actually, we did a fundraiser at her home.
I remember. Yeah, the one in Santa Barbara.
The one exactly right. That's
Mm-hmm.
exactly right. And that was a little sort of pre-reception. That was in one of her mini gardens.
Wait.
It's a nice house.
How big is this place?
It's a nice house.
Nice.
It's
Really?
kind of a big house.
Yeah.
But
because she's kind of a big deal, right?
Well, she is kind of a big deal. She is kind of a big deal. But that was just a nice afternoon.
Is she as personable as she seems to be?
She is. I think she's very much the way that you imagine she would be. And I didn't spend that much time with her. I've only had a few encounters with her, but every time
the first impressions count.
Yeah, she's been very, very gracious.
Yeah.
And my wife looks terrific there, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful picture. It's the first lady, the president-elect.
That's right.
Your wife Maya, Oprah, and you.
There you go.
Nice.
There you go.
Nice. And of course, we can't forget Abraham Lincoln, but I don't think you were around then, right?
No, I wasn't. But I'll tell you, that's one of my favorite photographs of him. And of course, and again, you hear a lot of echoes in what the president-elect is now talking about.
Right.
If you read Lincoln, you find a lot of connection there. But I'm a big admirer of Lincoln.
Ditto. Hey, the one thing the president-elect and I do have in common, we were both born August 4th.
Is that right?
I was born 62. He was born 61.
Well, there you go. So you guys get to celebrate your birthdays at the same time.
Yeah, so and Ross and Karimi, they were born exactly the same day.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is something.
Good
here.
Leos. Well,
Good
I'm
Leo.
August 12th.
You have the shoe. You share the shoe part there.
I'm August 12th.
Yeah, you're all Leos.
Yeah, so we're all Leos.
There's something about that.
We're all
you,
Leos
me,
here.
Ross, President Clinton,
That's right.
Barack.
That's right.
Yeah. It's like, and there's you and President Clinton. That's right. What do you think of Bill Clinton, by the way?
I think he was a very strong president, and you know, like I said, the most popular brand in Democratic Party politics. You know, amazing intellect. I was just a huge Bill Clinton fan. Worked in that. That's okay. You can lean up against the wall.
Oh, okay.
That's fine.
Folks, I'm trying to rearrange this furniture.
Or
folks.
you can just lay it down. That's fine
Okay,
too. 'Cause
I'll
I'll fix it. I'll fix it.
Yeah.
But I mean, look. I mean, Bill Clinton is. I mean, he's tremendous. I mean, you know, he's sort of a legend in the party. So, all right.
Hey, thanks for the time. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Zenny. Good to see you.
You too as well.
All right.
Thanks.
Take care.
Cool.